As Hailey grows, research shows that it's the construction industry that produces a high percentage of the area's waste. In this next project, Hailey worked with contractors and waste haulers to improve systems and encourage recycling. Construction-related materials and waste are often thrown away and trucked to landfills. Materials can be diverted for reuse, recycling, and more efficient disposal. For every ton of material properly sorted and recycled, greenhouse gases are reduced by 2 tons. The first step in this project was to bring stakeholders and government officials together to discuss the challenges facing construction recycling.
It takes a significant investment on the part of the haulers to go from one form of recycling to another.
The more times you pick this stuff up and move it, the more it costs. And that starts from tearing it down, putting it in the dumpster, putting it in several dumpsters, to a company like mine picking it up and hauling it out to the transfer station or the wood pile. And then that process is just taken over by Southern Idaho Solid Waste, and they have to handle it in some fashion.
The biggest problem is sorting it. If we could sort all the waste that comes through the transfer station, we could recycle a lot. It just takes a lot of money to do it.
Like most American cities, Hailey is set up for a certain amount of consumer recycling. But with the building industry responsible for 25 to 40% of the community's landfill waste, there's an opportunity for improvement.
What would be the best case scenario if you could do everything that you wanted to happen to make your job easier?
If wood waste could stay on site, it would be really, really cool.
You talk about wood, it's not just wood. It's treated wood or painted wood or glued wood.
Clean wood can be diverted from waste and processed into mulch for a significant savings in landfill fees. But many contractors were not separating their wood from the regular waste.
Unfortunately, people are inherently lazy in a lot of ways, and they don't want to deal with having to separate it themselves, so they just take it to the dumpster and throw it nearby, or having to pay a laborer or someone to actually do that work. Once that becomes the issue, then it doesn't pencil at that point.
If you cannot upsell your position on that to a client in a competitive scenario, it's not small dollars, actually.
If it became a county-wide or a city-wide practice so that contractors everywhere were doing it, are there any answers to that?
Education, I think, would help in many respects.
Bringing more people to the table to deal with this issue as a whole is the answer to that, because it just becomes something that everybody does.
You've got to have a lot of drive behind wanting to recycle to do something like that.
The best laid plans will not result in a perfect execution ever. And you just have to really care.
13 local contractors and building owners joined a program to track materials and their disposal costs. Each received a rebate incentive to divert and recycle as much as possible. Jim Bradley constructed a smaller home in town.
Cardboard was our biggest thing, and then the other third of it was clean wood, and then the rest just garbage. And then we also recycle glass, plastic, and cans. On a typical house this size, we spend roughly $500 emptying the dumpsters, and this time I think we've only spent to date $150, so a big savings. I would definitely recycle again, definitely.
In another neighborhood, Thad Farnham had a slightly larger project underway.
I've always been very aware of waste on jobs. My last job I made over $800 just on the copper recycling it. So you can make some money at it if you pay attention. What I'm finding is that we have so many different containers that it does take up more space, and so you have to really think about where you can put them, but it's manageable. The new guys, it's a little more difficult because they're not used to it at all, and I think sometimes they resent it a little bit. It's like, I shouldn't have to pay attention to trash. They see me in the dumpster hauling stuff out, and then they realize, oh, okay, this is important. I've got a trailer right here, and that's got all of my wood debris from the framing of the building, and it also has pallets and things like that. I think it's a 3-yard bin that I've been keeping the corrugated cardboard. We've actually emptied it once, it's full again. We have the metal, and my heating guys have contributed a fair amount of sheet metal into it, and then of course all the soda cans. I would say total on the job, maybe as much as 80% is going to be diverted from the landfill in one way or another. Just on the level that it makes you feel good, it's nice. A little more work, a little more of a headache to keep track of it, but you will save money, so it pays for itself.
An extensive remodel of a schoolhouse had crews handling large amounts of recyclables. Everyone was learning and new strategies were becoming more routine. The school district constructed a new maintenance building in a light industrial area.
We bring up the recycling aspect every Wednesday at our weekly meeting, and then also at every safety meeting. We do take extra care to make sure that everything gets recycled and put into the proper container. They drop the containers off for no charge. We fill them up, they'll come pick them up, and then they'll pay us for weight on the steel that's recycled. So far on this project, we've saved about $1,500.
It was a perfect opportunity for the school district to take advantage of. We've been able to offset a large volume of money just by recycling.
All the cardboard was recycled. The foam block that constructs the building was all recycled, taken back and ground up. The tin, the metal, the beams, the steel studs, all of that is in a steel dumpster out behind the building. That'll all be taken to Pacific down in Twin and recycled.
It gives the students and the community an opportunity to see how, when you educate yourself, how easy it is to implement.
It helps all of us in the long run being able to become more sustainable.
We were a little skeptical going into it as to whether or not it could actually pay. The numbers are coming in, and they're pretty impressive. And at the end of the day, we found that we were economically ahead on projects of this size.
It's not necessarily a significant hassle to do it. You just have to be consistent with it, and you just got to be willing to go through the bins and sort it out.
And these are products that are being readily re-entered into other marketplaces, so it really does make sense.
When you fill up that steel bin and they come and take it away, you get a check in the mail, and that's always a good thing.
The things that are difficult, they really take a labor of love to see through. And you guys have been very, very instrumental. You have made it easy. You've been really, really helpful. You've been a great motivator across the board.
We could all be working with the same subs, knowing the same information, and it would be on everybody's permit, County, Ketchum, Hailey, Bellevue, so it would be a consistency.
The project inspired the city to revise its contract for services and help reduce recycling barriers. These initiatives will save money and reduce greenhouse gases going forward.